Today a more philosophical kind of video about the three paths in life. The red, white and black paths in life. So what do they stand for? Well, let's start off with the red path. The red path is sort of represented by things that are not socially accepted or are sort of on the edge of it. Path you can find, for example, in lust, in drugs, maybe gambling or trading. You can sort of see those are things that you have to find out for yourself. If these are things that you are interested in, that you want to try out. And that's why I also say it's in the red path. As you will see in the thumbnail of this video, you see me wearing a harness. It's not something when I was younger that I would wear, but once I moved to Berlin, I saw this is something that I found interesting. I found it was cool. So I ordered myself a harness, and then I found out that I really actually liked to wear it. It helped me out a great deal in getting to know myself, but also to give me confidence. Because before I always thought that I was too skinny, I wouldn't show off my body because I was a bit ashamed of it due to the fact that I was skinny. But after wearing the harness and going out in it, I actually noticed like, hey, I got compliments for it. And it helped me a great deal in accepting my body for it. The same thing goes for sex in clubs. Once I moved to Berlin, yes, you have sex clubs there. And I noticed, hey, this is something that I want to try out. I found out that I found it interesting and I would only do it with someone that I really liked, for example. And I need to have a good connection with that person. And this is for everyone different, but I learned again something from myself that I otherwise would not have the experience of. And then drugs. Yeah, simple as that. These are also in the red path because they are not socially accepted. However, when I was younger, I always made jokes to my parents that I wanted to try out everything. So also drugs, not every kind of drug, but I wanted to have the experience with them. Though I must be fair with you, I don't believe in the fact that everything always needs to be about happiness, joy, and everything is always good. Because simply life isn't like that. You have to feed all sides of the spectrum. But in general, this is the space in where you take care of your friends, family, and try to help out as much as possible. Don't get me wrong. If I look at myself, I see that I have this path quite well in myself. But there was also a downside to this because I still had to learn that there were also borders. Borders in the fact that, yes, you can take care of everyone, but sometimes it's not needed. And sometimes you can also pass by yourself if you just take care of everyone else and not yourself. I have noticed for myself that you cannot also always take care of everyone, and sometimes it's also good for someone to fall on their face. Let me give you an example. I was at one point, I was out with an old roomie of mine and a good friend of mine. We went to a club. And I noticed that my old roomie, he wasn't really comfortable on being alone. And he was really, sort of claiming us. And he wanted to have all the attention the whole time. And that annoyed me a little bit. But once I started to talk about it with my friend, he was also like, hey, just ignore him from time to time. You don't always have to go there. You don't always have to entertain him. You don't always have to enjoy him. So I took this into account, and that was sort of like an eye-opener for him. At first he felt a bit strange that I was a bit distant towards him. The longer that the evening went on, he started to calm down and he started to go also his own way, which was for him a nice learning process. For example, I love going out alone and I'm not necessarily keen to always be around my friends. I like to do my own stuff, to go my own way. And that was something for him that he had to get the experience of. So you cannot always just take care of someone. Sometimes it's also needed for people to just go their own way, and that will sometimes create resistance for them, or sometimes a situation that they don't really enjoy, but that they can still learn something from. Then we go to the black path, and this is the grimmest one, but also to my understanding where the path where everyone could end up and sometimes end up without noticing. Here goes everything that is not really accepted, like of course you have stealing, killing, etc. But for me the easiest way to explain this is when I look at my own life. I walked the black path quite some times, and especially when I didn't take care of myself and I had a lot of trouble with my mental health, I wasn't good for myself. And of course, if I'm not good for myself, I can also not really be good for the people around me. So this doesn't only involve the real bad things in life, but also in how you take care for the people around you. Even in the past years, I still walk the black path from time to time. Because when I'm not feeling well, I sometimes have days, for example, when all of a sudden I notice, hey, I actually would have met with someone, but then 2-3 days later, I sort of all of a sudden notice like, oh shit, I should have met up with this person, or I should have called this person, or I should have spent time with this person. Actually, what I had to do in that time is to make sure that I myself was okay, to get myself under control and then get my life under control. And at those moments, there is no space in my life for anyone else. And instead of taking people into my life a lot currently and include them in my chaos, I rather take care of these things alone and of myself. But this is just an example from my own life. Those are the moments that you have to decide for yourself, hey, what are you gonna do about it? I could also say that I learned a lot from the black path, to be honest. It created a lot of empathy for other people when they show off certain behaviors, and I can take into account that we are just complex human beings. We will walk all the paths that we see. This is both, of course, a process and etc. Maybe I sound a little bit corny or cheesy, but that's okay for this video. But as you can see, like for me at least, all of the whole spectrum, if you look at the black path, the red path, or the white path, those are all things that you sort of go through in life and that you have experience with. At least for me, I always, if I have had a bad time in terms of like an old relationship, or I had grief or whatever, those are not nice things, but by processing them and working them out, I am able to create more empathy. I am able to have a better understanding of things, but I also have a better understanding of how it is to love people, friends, relationships, whatever that might be. So yeah, I hope I explained this a little bit. If I would put it in other terms, I like to talk about the black and the white wolf. Again, we come back to those colors, but you have to keep those in balance and you have to feed both wolves to keep things in balance for yourself. I like the red path as well because it allowed me to really understand myself and to see what are the things that I like doing, what are the things that I maybe should still accept of myself. Especially coming from such a conservative background as I come from, those are still things that I learn from these days. My dad was a deacon, so you could sort of imagine he was working for the Roman Catholic Church, that there are some things in my life, even looking at my own face, full with tattoos and etc., those were not necessarily things that were socially accepted when I was younger. And it is fine. I really feel that I have become a better person over time, a better soul, and that's something that I'm proud of. So I just wanted to sort of give you a little bit of insight in how I look at life and give a philosophical way of explaining this all. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, if you see things differently, or if you have something that you can sort of imagine it being like that, or your own experiences. I'll be happy to react to that. And then there is nothing else to say than big hug, much love, and then I see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.